This week we had our third production meeting, which we began setting work within the group, and we started setting research for each member of the group to be looking at. We also had our production meeting with the directors, which I took a list of questions from all the first years because they weren't going to attend because some of them had commitments. So I took a list to the directors of all the questions that they wanted to know. What went right this week is we held our meeting in an opposite room to the other group, which meant that we weren't talking over anyone else, and we also sat in a circle, which meant that everyone could see each other and everyone talked to a certain degree, but others still speaking more than others, which I'm going to have a look at how I can get everyone to speak and voice their opinions. Other members in the group weren't able to come to the production meeting on Thursday with the directors, so I sent a list around asking what questions the first years and one of the other managers had for the directors, so like lighting information, any special effects that would be needed, just to get a brief outline of what was going to be required of the show. This week we shared the minutes fairly by one person doing it one day and then the next person doing it in the next meeting, which it stops people getting bored and it's a tedious job to do. So I think that is one thing that went right by me giving it equally to members of the group. What went wrong this week was I made a target sheet after the initial production meeting we had on Wednesday, which basically just give a brief outline of everyone's weekly targets individually. A lot of people seem to be questioning it afterwards, asking what we were supposed to be doing, how we were supposed to be doing it, what needed including. So I'm going to have a look at a different method of doing that for next week so that it's easier for everyone, and because to be honest I thought it was simplistic, but obviously everyone has their own way of learning, so I'm going to have a look at how I can hit that next week. I don't think everyone read the minutes I sent as well and the agendas, because people seem to be asking what we talked about and what we discussed, so like what conclusions we came to and what I'd set them for that week. So I'm going to make sure that people are aware that I've sent the targets and the minutes so that they can be reading that, and then it's also back up that I've sent it. I'm finding that everyone in the group hasn't got a voice yet. There's still a few people that are talking more than others, so I'm going to have a look at ways I can try and get everyone's voice or opinions. One of the problems we had this week was the production meeting with the directors on Thursday was the directors actually forgot that we had a meeting. So I think that in the future I'm going to email them like the day before to remind them that we've got a meeting and with the agenda, which I was supposed to do this week, but I didn't get the director's email, so it's my own fault. So I've learned from that, as I've seen that they forgot, so that's one thing that I'm going to do next week. One of the problems that I had this week as well was one of the people that wrote the minutes this week, I couldn't read the writing, so when it came to me typing the minutes up for him, I became stuck. So I think next week I'm going to look at ways around that as well. The things I'm going to do differently this week is I'm going to make sure that whoever's making the minutes for that week is doing it electronically, because it saves time and it means that we don't have to type it up after the meeting, and that way we can actually send the minutes quicker to everyone in the group. I'm going to have a look at ways I can make meetings departmental so that everyone kind of takes charge of their own little groups, and that way everyone starts to talk more. And I'm also going to have a look at how I can make other people like the key speaker for that week. Weekly targets this week is to research cribs for Sleeping Beauty at the beginning of the performance. I have to write a production role outline, so basically a brief outline of what my production role is and what things you need for that role. I've also got to type up the minutes and agendas and send them to everyone in the group, and we have to attend the production meeting on Thursday with the directors. This week I've learned I need to make sure that other people take charge and not just me, because I know my role is the production manager, but the SM and the DSM also need to kind of make their management role more secure within the group, so that other members of the group know that they're also in charge of our production company. I've also learned I need to be more organised with paperwork, because I'll be honest, it took me a while to get the minutes to everyone. The minutes for Thursday's production meeting I didn't type up yet, because I needed to finalise some of the information that was being sent around, because we needed to double check on audience sizes and when the shows were going to be on, because there was a bit of discrepancy between the directors and the person that books all the venue out. So I'm going to make sure that I can get things finalised quicker, so that the information I'm sending out to everyone in the group is correct. I've also learned that time management's a massive key in this role, because if you kind of let things get on top of you, it builds up quick, and when you have research to do and you've got things to type up, it does build up on you quick. So I'm going to make sure that I plan my time more, and also because if I'm organised, it kind of makes everyone else organised, because they see that like their leader is. So I'm going to make sure that I'm more organised next week.